Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. Today we are in my actual studio rather than on my countertop. I've been working very hard to get this organized here. Please let me know what you guys think of my little area. And I'm also planning to do a few reviews on different tools and things like that, just to kind of see what you guys think about it. Also let me know what you think about that as well. Some of these tools that you will be seeing today are going to be, I've already made reviews on them or unboxings on them, and you just haven't seen them yet because I'm trying to get a little bit of a cushion built up in case something happens where I can't make a video. Then I have a couple of videos that I can just throw up, so that way you guys are not left behind. So yeah, which is always nice. But this is going to be a little bit of a short video. I was asked by one of my viewers about hammering videos and a hammering tutorial. Well, this is not a hammering tutorial. This is more of a understanding and getting started with hammering, and also how far you really want to go with the idea of hammering. So when it comes down to it, for the beginner, I recommend a wonderful bench block. I have two of these guys, plus this bench block here. There are rubber ones out there and available, and there are combination rubber and steel ones. So far, I have never been impressed with the rubber ones. They absorb so much impact of what it is that you're doing, and that is completely counterintuitive to what it is that when you're hammering things. So I personally don't recommend them. You don't get anywhere, plus they also leave a lot of nasty stuff behind on your wire and your projects. Don't mind my little fan. This room is also in the very back of my house, so it doesn't exactly get all the heat I need during the winter time. It's cold. Two great big windows and it's freezing. So what do you need other than your bench block? A good bench block is always great. If you want to go ahead and splurge right off the bat, you already know you love metalsmithing. I do recommend this guy. He is a table clamp, and they fit on a lot of stuff. This guy can fit on my countertop really easy. And he also has some extra little tidbits here. He has a little screw on the side where I can put in a metal ring mandrel, and he'll hold him in there with that little groove right there. And then I can do rings and such. Just gotta find that groove. There we go. Rings and such, very easy. The only thing is, you will run into him a lot. So sometimes you might just want to go ahead and only put him out when you are ready to use him. I do recommend that. I have ran into this guy so many times. I got so many bruises on my hips from him. He also has a slot here, and I'll go more in depth on him in another video as a review video. He also has a slot where instead of this wood piece, you can also use this bench or a bracelet bender as well. Bracelet form. He's not a bender. He just forms. You bend around him though. That sucker's heavy. He's a good heavy-duty guy. He's wonderful. He is also something that you could possibly think about doing as far as this goes. Not necessary. You can always go with just the simple bench block by himself. That is also great, too, for a beginner. But this guy is available out there, and if you want to go more in-depth with jewelry smithing, I highly recommend him because he has this feature with this little wood guy here. This guy is used for so much stuff you cannot even imagine. I missed it. I missed it so much when I graduated. I wanted one so bad. Now I have one. Although this one's pretty thin compared to the one I had at college. So that's part of the review part. Now what else do we have here? We also have a brass mallet. Now this guy is not a very heavy duty mallet. I have yet to use him, but there are 3-pound mallets out there. I'll use him in a review as well. I'm pretty sure he's a 1-pound mallet, but the heavier the mallets get, the higher the cost ends up being. Do not skimp on cost when it comes to the brass mallet. Honestly, you want a very good heavy mallet that's really nicely balanced as far as that guy goes, because he's used for so much stuff. He's going to be used for not only the bench block, but other things I'm going to show you in this video as far as what is available for hammering. There is the rawhide mallet. He's also a great guy. He's hard, similar to the metal mallets, but he's still a little softer as well. You don't want to use him for doing metal stamping where you're putting letters into things. He's too soft for that kind of stuff for small things, but he is great for instance, forming, and you don't want to mark up your piece of metal with one of the metal guys, but you want to form it around something such as the bracelet form. He's great for that. He won't mark up your metal. He's awesome for stuff like that. Very same case can be made for the wood mallet as well. Very, very lightweight. It's going to be used for very little things. Rawhide mallet's got a little bit more heft to him. But you're going to be using him, once again, for lightweight stuff. You don't want to use him for dapping or anything along those lines because the metal is... And at some point in time, I got this guy at an auction with a bunch of other tools. Somebody had no idea what this was for, and you can see he's all marked and marred up. And he's still usable for my purposes. And honestly, you can also have a rawhide mallet. Takes the place of the wood mallet just fine. At least I find. They both came in the same auction thing, so it's like, I want that one. The other one's just a bonus. In case for some reason the rawhide one malfunctions. I don't know. Now, I do have two different hammers here, and you can see that they have two completely different kinds of ends. This guy is a little bit rounded, but he has a very prominent corner to him. You can see very straight-laced corner going on there. This guy is very, very rounded, and these guys both do different things. I can use this guy to hammer something out, but there is the opportunity that I could end up leaving a mark with that rim if I'm not careful. So I might want to use this guy instead. And hammers like this come in a amazingly overabundance. There are so many, and there are even hammers that have different ends that can be replaced. I've never used one of those. It seems like a good idea, and it seems like it would work, but at the same time, you are hammering into things. It's more of a texture hammer than it is a forming hammer. It does seem like there is the possibility for breakage, but I've never used one, so don't quote me on that. But I am slowly building up my hammers. Yeah, they are also not cheap, these guys. Rawhide hammer, he's pretty good. This guy was like $10. He'll work for now until I can build up more stuff. But I do recommend getting one of these guys with, I guess he would be in a form of a ball peen hammer. And in a later video, I'll show you how to use hammers more appropriately. But I would recommend at least one of these guys for the first go around. Like I said, he is slightly domed, and I have noticed that from the place I bought this guy, other people have bought them too, and then comparing them to mine, that dome wasn't there. I don't know if it's just because they changed maybe the hammer that they currently have there or what the deal is, but it has changed with that company anyway. So getting a couple of hammers, one that's a little bit more rounded and one that's nice and flat and flush, I think it's a great idea. It is a nice little purchase. They aren't super heavy. You can go all the way down at the end, or you can choke up, either way, for different things, different projects that you plan to do. But it is something that you could spend for a full set of these guys. You can easily go over $100. Very easy. So I like to use 50% off coupons whenever they happen to pop up for whatever, the three big ones, the Joann's, the Michaels, and Hobby Lobby. Well, Hobby Lobby, they only have the 40% off, and that's it. But the other two, and Joann's, occasionally, and now Michael's actually does too now, they both will occasionally have a 60. I wish my stores were bigger where I live. Maybe they would have more varieties of hammer. But the next time a 60 pops up at one of them, I am definitely going to get myself a regular brass hammer. It just, nothing replaces that amount of heft that a good brass hammer has. But again, I haven't played with this guy yet. I will eventually in a later hammering videos. Let me know what you guys think about that. So I'm going to just rotate. Whee! Here we go. We're going on a ride. I guess I need to do more than rotate, huh? There we go. Alright, now we see some more of our set here. You can't have a ring mandrel just all by himself. He's a handheld ring mandrel. Pretty much you put this guy in between your knees and you start forming it and shaping if you want to do that way. But there are plastic ones available. I recommend just get a metal one. A metal one is so much better than a plastic one. You can end up putting dents and rings from hammering metal with the plastic ones. I'd always go for at least a metal one. Please, please. You'll save yourself money in the long run. Now, as to what this guy is here, this is a disc. Oh, behave. Normally he is in a package, so that way the cutters don't just fall out like that. He has his little bag that I keep him in all the time. So that way I can't lose these guys and the cats can't run off with them. My cat's naughty. I can't help it. He's a bad cat. Then there's the good girl. But this is a great little set. Do keep in mind, those will fall out. Now, what is this guy for? This is so you can cut your own disc out, your own blanks and such, which is what I've done with this guy. I've found out that this metal is not metal that I'm ever going to use or buy ever again, but for my videos, he's going to serve his purpose just fine. This metal is not nickel free. It can't be, because you have this silver coating over the top of it, and then just underneath that's a copper one, and underneath that's a brass one. Yeah, that's shenanigans. But this is what he does. He cuts out disc in multiple sizes. Again, I got this guy at one of the big 3 with a 50% off. Very affordable. When you're ready to get it, get it. And you can cut out disc of all different sizes. Now these guys can really, really go up in price very fast, depending on what shapes you want to cut out. The heart one is the most expensive one I've seen at $150 on Amazon. Yikes. Thankfully, I really have no interest in that. I feel that by the time, by the time you get to the point that you want shapes, it's time to get a nice little scroll saw and start cutting those shapes out by hand and getting good with a scroll saw. You'll save yourself way more money, and if it's something that doesn't end up working out, then you don't have $150, $100 and something thing sitting around your house that's like, ugh, what am I going to do with it now? You'll never get your money back out of it. But that is the disc cutter. There's so many disc cutters out there and really super fancy ones. This guy's always served my purposes just fine. And if he doesn't serve my purposes, then I just cut it out myself with my jag saw. Now, this guy is a sandbag. And he's something that I will do a demonstration video on just by himself. Pretty much by the time you get done cutting something out, and if it's a special shape that you're cutting out, like for instance the heart, then that's when you grab a hold of these guys here, and then you want to round out that heart shape. Well, then here's the top of the heart, one of the tops, and then you come in here with a hammer and you just start rounding that shape right there. Then you round the other shape, and then you start chiseling, in a way, kind of like chiseling down, so that way you can dome the whole shape. Or if you want to do an oval shape, you can do all kinds of shapes with it that aren't standard like these guys. Although these guys can cover so much stuff. Again, these sandbags are not exactly the cheapest out there. But you can get this guy, again, from the big 3. Let me tell you at least this. Very little of my stuff actually comes from Hobby Lobby, because the other two have way better coupons. But I got this guy from possibly Michael's. I think it was Michael's. Could be Joann's. This guy was from Joann's. I believe this guy's from Michael's. And picked him up. I think he might have been $20, and then by the time I used the $50, worked out just fine. And he pretty much, for the size of anything, if I want to do something bigger than this, then I want to need a lot bigger one, and there's where the big prices come in. They also come in different shapes. You can get square ones, so on and so forth. But I don't know why the shape myself why the shape would matter, square versus round, what have you. You could also probably just go and buy some cheap leather. And if you know somebody who has a sewing machine that can sew leather, go ahead and put a bag of sand inside of a plastic bag, or inside of something really strong and durable, and then just put a leather casing around it and just sew it shut. If you have that available to you, recommended. Surely even if you went to a seamstress who has a leather sewing machine, yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't charge you very much for that. Just done. And now we have the dapping block of doom. I love my dapping block of doom. And I will show all the things that you can do with that guy in the future. If you guys want, let me know. I might just make one video on it. And if you guys really like the idea of using that, let me know and I'll make more. But the dapping block is another one of the key features of hammering. You can do a variety of things. Once you cut your disc out here, you have a variety of different holes that are sunken down in here, and some of them are a lot shallower than others. This guy has some more shallow ones versus this guy who's really deep. You can also have rounded bits here. You can have more triangular shapes like so. And just all kinds of things. And yeah, it looks a little greasy. I have not gotten to the point where this is all covered in mineral oil. So I just haven't gotten to the point where I'm taking some of it off. And I may not, because that mineral oil keeps it all nice and shiny and just impressive as can be. A lot of these dabbing blocks also do come with a nice little display, or at least something to put it in so that way you can keep track of all the little bits. And here are all the tops that you can use as well. And you just put the disc in, you put the topper inside, and you start hammering, and there you go. Whoop, sorry about that. Now, since I've gotten that guy, I had one that I bought before. This guy came from Joann's. And, you know, it's a pretty simple little thing. It can do all kinds of stuff. If you really want to get where you want to try it, see what it's like, you can get all kinds of nice little domed things rather than just having flat blank pieces of metal. They're great for just something simple like what you see on the package here. So you can always do that. Give that a shot. He's a lot cheaper. And again, Joann's has a 60 fairly often off of one regular priced item. And if you have a husband, a wife, a couple of kids, as long as you make it look like they are paying for a separate item, as long as it looks that way to the camera, the cashiers don't get in trouble, and you get to use that 60% off multiple times. It works at Michael's as well. Then you don't have to make multiple trips. Now, I know that the Michael's at my location doesn't carry the wood one anymore. I don't know about others because this went into the clearance section, so mine doesn't. I got this guy, and he is a part of a demonstration video that I plan to make. And honestly, I would not go for the wood ones like this. Go away, bad cat. I would not go for these wood ones so much, mostly because in hammering with this guy with a piece of metal, there we go. See if I can't show this to you guys. You see that ring that's going on around here? That is from where I domed a piece that I have cut out, a blank that I've already cut out. And that was just after one use. So you can see this guy is not going to last at all. Which, you know, if you're just trying it out and so on, you know, it might be pretty okay to go. I mean, it is $10 regular priced over there. At least at the time I'm making this video it is. But don't plan on it being a long-term thing. Now that these grooves are in here permanently, and there's a couple areas that probably aren't showing up on camera where there's a really good line going around there that can get interpreted into the next piece of metal that I were to put in. and then that piece of metal, instead of being nice and smooth on the other side, now it's got this ring going on inside of it. I'm not too impressed with that, but if you want to just get started with a $10 set, there he is. And he's lightweight, easy to walk around with. Or you can get the one from Joann Fabrics as well. The metal one that has, you know, also pretty much along the lines of the same thing. So this is my beginner hammering video, what you need to get started. Pretty much all you need is a bench block right off the bat and a nice hammer of some sort. Maybe even a brass hammer. And this little 1-pounder might even do you. I'm not really sure. I haven't played with him. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but... And then from there, this is what all it can end up branching off into, and the different things that you could end up really evolving into with the hammering part of it. I do plan to do possibly a couple of other hammering videos where we're actually doing stuff with hammering. Let me know if that interests you. And I know that my viewer who kind of requested hammering, this does not answer her question. I am quite aware, but that's going to be for her video that I'm going to do after this one. I think I need to, like, you know, a beginner, what to buy and what to do and what is all this stuff before I actually make you know, the next video. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I know I rambled quite a bit, but I'm in a new setting and I really am just overwhelmed by the shiny. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Any questions you have, feel free to leave them down in the comments section. Also, questions down there, or you can email me your questions if you're too embarrassed to leave it out where everybody else can see it. More than happy to help you out over there as well. Have a good day, guys.